Hi, welcome to Inside the Moms Club, where being a mom is the coolest place to be. Here in the Moms Club, we believe that what embarrasses you now will make a great story later. And let's face it, you don't laugh sometimes, you're gonna cry. Join us in having a good laugh together. I'm Monica Samuels. You are now inside the Moms Club, your private destination for all things mom. Welcome, moms. Welcome to Inside the Moms Club. I'm your host, Monica Samuels, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Julie Orchid. Hello, Julie.
Hey, what's going on, Monica?
Well, we're back here in Los Angeles.
We are. It feels so good. And
it does. It feels great. The weather's been amazing, as we say here on the Moms Club.
Yeah.
And it's just been great. And
it's been sunny and warm and blue skies and everything the whole reason that people live in LA.
Yeah.
So
it's been perfect.
Yeah.
And then this is not that it's not perfect, but we share a room when we're traveling here. And we've had to learn each other's little idiosyncrasies.
That's for
and
sure.
certain things that we do.
Yeah.
So, like I go to bed listening to Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's a routine.
And
she's not even watching the show.
I actually bought a new pillow that I highly recommend. And they, not a paid sponsor, but I love it. It's a pillow for your face. You put it over your face.
Right.
But Julie threatened to put it over more than my face the other night. She was like ready to.
I was like, that pillow?
To let me.
Anyway, but yeah, we have we have to learn each other's ins and outs. And I can honestly tell you that, Monica has some routines that I've had to ask the depth of what they mean and how you process them. So, your level of anxiety today, how is it?
I'm 4, maybe.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good today.
Bad.
It's pretty good today.
Yeah, I have anxiety, which I've shared before, which is, working on it. But something that Julie, who travels with me, then has to deal with because it means that I do certain things that she's used to. My husband's used to it, but
the biggest one is like you have a routine that you got to make sure that you're ready to go and processed and run to the restroom before every show, run to the restroom before we board a plane. It doesn't matter. And so finally, as an ER nurse, I was just concerned that you had UTIs all the time. Honestly, I didn't really know what was.
And it always has to be just under the gun. It's just like, it has to be like right before. Talk about anxiety.
Yeah.
That should make everybody more anxious than but it has to be like
it's a tight and you have a little touch and I'm not picking on you. I'm literally maybe sometimes I am, but OCD too plays a part in that with your anxiety. And
I do have that. Yes.
You do have that. So I'm just trying to understand it because I don't know if it's helpful for a person like me who, kind of blows and goes, and not processing all of your little routines. Is it helpful for me to be like, hey, you're going to be fine. Let's go. We've got this. Maybe you can tell me.
I think it doesn't change anything. So I do have OCD.
So you're ignoring what I'm telling you?
No.
Okay.
It takes more to get over that. So it started like as a kid, I had big problems with germs.
It hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. And so that's not good. So I washed my hands a ton, but my dad, and he was not being mean about it, but he started calling me the sanitary kid. And there was a little ditty he always said. It was like, he holds her hands with rubber gloves and kisses her through a strainer, the sanitary kid.
Oh.
And so I was the sanitary kid. But you know what? Actually, it didn't bother me because as much as they called me and told me I was a hated germ, I liked it because I thought, okay, everybody knows I don't want germs around me,
Well, yeah, and it plays into the hypochondriac.
Yeah, that does have that has an effect. But you know what? So an OCD is one of those things that you also, like I always would, like on walking up and down steps.
Oh yes,
I always
Monica,
had to
I forgot about the right
land
foot.
on my right foot.
She has to land on her right foot.
I have to step over a line with my right. It's just stupid. It's not stupid. It's something I have to deal with.
But you work on it every day.
It debilitates your life in a way because it's like
I mean, we've been
affects your
together for
life.
4 years and we know each other's things. And I've learned that, this is part of your routine and who you are. But I also like to jump in every now and then and discover what's behind it. And will that ever change?
Well, to answer your question, certainly with people, therapy and things, they call your attention to, it's not, the biggest thing I've been told is, why don't you try to go ahead and get on that airplane?
Right.
Why don't you just run up and down the stairs and don't worry how it turns out? You know?
Right.
And it's just, you can't, it's hard.
Yeah.
But I'm very well aware of it.
Right.
And it hasn't, and the other thing is you kind of feel like, like this is the first time I've ever talked about any of that. Sure. My sister's going to be a Zoomer mom. I bet she didn't know that I was.
Oh, I'll be asking.
She probably did know.
I'll be asking Lisa. She's
she
over here.
Does
she
know
knows.
I did.
She knows.
Also, and we're going to talk more. We have a wonderful guest. It was to discuss more of this sort of thing. But on the show, Baylen Out Loud, where she said she has to do everything in threes.
Sure.
I had to do everything in threes for a while. I was like, that's, and I also had a tick in law school.
Yes.
Where I was constantly squinching my nose, where everybody's like, Monica, you've got a tick.
I think that was fueled by
but
stress.
But it was tons of stress.
Stress at law school.
But so there's a lot of stuff, Well, let's just jump right into the subject.
Yeah, I want to learn more about it and, how people deal with it on a daily basis.
Absolutely. So we are thrilled to have with us the mother of the star of TLC's most watched unscripted TV show, Baylen Out Loud. The reality series showcases Baylen, who has Tourette's syndrome, and the ways Baylen and her family manage the challenges that come with it. In addition to Baylen, this amazing, as we say on the Moms Club, mother of 5 other children, is raising with her husband Ellen in West Virginia. Please welcome Julie Dupree. Welcome to the Moms Club. Hello, Julie. We're so thrilled for you to be here. And let's just start from a little background for those who haven't seen the series, but I highly recommend they watch it because it really is. It's a great show, but it's not just a show. It identifies something that people are learning a lot from. So Baylen has Tourette's syndrome, which you recognized from her childhood, but it really didn't manifest itself in a more severe way, from what I understand, until the pandemic. Is that correct? Or just tell us a little bit about how you all came to discover
that she had Tourette's syndrome.
True. So at a young age, she did have multiple issues. You could see the ADHD manifesting itself in little OCD things. She had a few random tics, 7, 8 years old. And then everything kind of took a break. Until right around the age of 16, she started to get some simple tics, some neck jerking. We kind of let that fly, just not really knowing where we should go with things and what to do about it. See if, your brain chemistry and those chemicals are rapidly changing at that age. So you just think, okay, well, we're gonna let this pan itself out. But by the time of 18, or probably slightly before 18, maybe a little bit before the pandemic, things really kicked into high gear for her. And then, of course, for us, because we were absolutely clueless with what to do and what was actually going on, because we had never thought Tourette ever. We had thought all these, what now we know as comorbidities that go hand in hand with Tourette. It was just... I felt like we were ambushed.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, I bet. Just thrown into the wildfire of learning something that's going to be a part of your life.
And the combination of things like Tourette's frequently comes with OCD. So that causes her to be in some danger at times. Is that correct? Because if she's got if she punches somebody or she breaks something, and she's going to keep doing it until 3 times until she feels that she's done what she needs to do, but that's not safe for her. So I know I saw you one episode where you went to the grocery store with her, or cooking with her, and how do you manage those challenges on a daily basis?
Management it's kind of it's complicated because it's not a one-way road. You're dealing with so many other things at one time. But for the most part, I would say that OCD is the devil. It is driving the car. And that is what really accentuates her Tourette. I think her Tourette would be a much simpler case of Tourette to deal with if it weren't for the OCD kind of infringing itself into her world. Mm-hmm. So she has obviously been through counseling, behavioral therapy. There's not a whole lot that we found that works for her. Julie?
Is there like a group? You know what I mean? Like, there's groups for everything, but for people who are experiencing living with Tourette syndrome, is there anything like that?
There very well could be. I haven't personally looked into it.
Yeah.
Now that she's adulting and we are realizing together that the OCD is driving the car, both fortunately and unfortunately, that's kind of her responsibility.
Sure.
To make sure that she's managing that. I can't do that for her as much as I want to help.
Sure.
And maybe as much as the show makes it look like I'm a helicopter mom, I'm really not.
I gotcha.
Well, and I understand how that feels too, because my oldest son had a traumatic brain injury, and today you wouldn't know that he still deals with some of it, but whenever he would take the car out and drive the car, I knew that he would lose focus or something. And so I was at home. When I watch you on the show, I feel for you. Whenever she's out experiencing other things that you don't have control over, it's hard.
Right.
Because, one time Jared came home and he had swiped the side of the car on a guardrail and just lost focus and came home and the whole side of the car had a big line.
That's part of it. But that's a good way, those types of stories. How did you get to be like so public? How did this come about? The show and her decision to go public, which I think has been tremendously helpful. Mm-hmm. Her YouTube and everything that she's done with it. So how did the show come about?
The show came about through Michael Levitt. Mm-hmm. He reached out to, I believe it was me personally. He messengered me and basically said that he adored Baylen and he felt very inspired by her and wondering if we could do a Zoom to speak more. He already knew that she was like a public figure, obviously, because of her following. So, that was basically it. And we had a liking for him right from the get-go. Like you could tell that there was a connection.
Yes.
So
we've met him. He's a great guy. We enjoy Michael.
Yeah,
sure.
A lot.
So she was already a public person because she put herself out there. So kids these days, did you know that she had decided, hey, I'm going to go on TikTok and identify myself as someone with Tourette's? Did she say in advance, hey, I'm doing this, or seek your counsel? Like, should I do this? Or you just discovered one day that she's blown up into
Julie's like, yeah, no, Monica, absolutely not. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, it's a question. I think I know the answer, but I just let her in. Yeah. Tell us about that experience, because
I don't think that she was interested in our opinion at that time, because it was really more of like this freeing of herself.
Right.
So I think we found out like maybe 2 weeks later that she had posted this TikTok video that had went viral, and we're like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing now?
You're in our master bathroom doing videos?
Yeah.
This is like, I don't know, this whole generation's different. So it was like, okay, if you're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it. And it obviously had a purpose to her. And the driving purpose was to make sure that her schoolmates knew that she was a really accelerated version of herself. And she was embarrassed of herself. And she wanted to put that out into the world before anybody could do it for her, because she had seen some girls in a local store taking a video of her.
Yeah.
So that was her driving force to say, okay, I'm going to hold the power here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show everybody, as opposed to the world doing it. So and it just kind of blew up from there. And we didn't really understand that it blew up
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
has. I actually knew who Baylen was before I knew about today. So, you know what I mean? From her videos, which I think are super courageous. I think she's incredibly brave. How do you feel as a mom on this public journey of her being out there? You know, obviously you're going to get negative feedback or people, you know, say things. People are, and you know, terribly cruel. And so as a mom, what do you do with that? How do you guys handle that? Because it seems to me that that would be almost impossible to avoid.
Right. Like this is her life and she's living it. So no
Sure.
matter what I say, it has no impact on her. So we're just really encouraging and supportive and always throwing out just little bits of,
Tidbits.
wisdom of like, hey, maybe this isn't, maybe don't go this route or whatever. But as your children become adults, you realize that you do have less control and you're kind of in the back seat going, okay, please don't go off the
Oh
road.
yeah, yeah. Julie and I are well aware of it.
Yeah,
Yes,
I giggled a little bit because I
I-
have one that doesn't, she could literally care less about my opinion, you know,
Yeah.
and what I have to say. I was like, okay.
I learned that with my youngest son when he texted me and said, I think I'm going to go skydiving. And I texted back, absolutely not, which was followed by a video of him
And
skydiving.
Yeah.
He'd already gotten back.
Yeah. Anyway.
So yes, they don't listen to anything like that. Well, she has done, I mean, to put herself out there, that's a huge public service to get people talking about all of this and thinking about it in a different way. When Julie and I were looking at different things related to Tourette's to get ready for this show, I saw a video of a young man who had very severe Tourette's. And he's gotten some treatment at the Mayo Clinic, so there was a YouTube video about it. But I looked in the comments, and one of the comments read, I went to school with this guy. I didn't really know what was happening to him, and now I wish I had bothered to at least say hi.
Yeah.
And that just touched me. Like, yeah, I mean, so she's giving a voice to all of these people, and that's tremendous. And I and with the social media as it is, yeah, there's some negative people, and you know, I'm on Instagram and TikTok and everything. I do these silly videos, and then I get those message on TikTok. The bottom says it's folded to protect my well-being. The comments, you know, it's like, okay, I'm not going to read those because.
Right.
So yeah, I know how tough it can be. Well, what's it like to bring a film crew into your home and your family? I mean, because someone once joked that we should do a Mom's Club reality show, and I thought, I don't think we should, number one. But second, I wouldn't feel like I was being myself.
Well, here's the deal. Your makeup and hair would be done and mine would not be. And that is true. Yeah.
We know who would be all put together. But what is that like for you all?
And your other kids.
Yeah.
It was surreal, and you can't really describe it to somebody that hasn't been through it. So it's like we try to describe it to our family and friends, and there's really no perfect description of how you can articulate the feelings that you're going through, that all of these strangers are in your house and your life is going to be national and all these crazy things. It's just, I don't know. It's really just, I think it took just a lot of family thought, perspective, it just being really like introspective of how is this going to pan out for us?
Sure.
How are we going to balance the pros and cons of this? Is it the right thing? And since we came to the conclusion that this was the right avenue for us, we looked at it more as a blessing. So having them with us every day was a little bit of a challenge because you're opening up your space in your world.
Right.
But it's way more of a blessing than it was anything else. Just,
well,
I don't know. Most people don't get to have that experience.
Yes.
So just to have that experience is really just, that's great.
I love how you phrase that. It's a blessing. And, you know, I really like that. But this is inside the Moms Club. How do you care for yourself? How do you take care of yourself? Yeah. What do you do
have 6 kids. How do you how do you manage that?
How do you manage it?
I always give props to my husband in this avenue because
it's beautiful.
We chose like out of the gate to be a little bit more on the end of poor so that I would always have the ability of availability.
Yeah.
So there were some rough years in there where I was like, oh Lord, I need to get the job and you
Yeah,
need to
you can stay home. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
But now things have really flattened out. The youngest being 11, I feel like I've really come into who I am as a person and a mom in the last 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I make it a point. I'm intentional about making time for myself
Good.
and knowing my limits. And I don't know. I feel like I've really just became a person in like the last 10 years.
It's
15,
fantastic.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first 15 years of parenting wasn't, it wasn't all daisies and
No,
whatever.
no, of course not.
So having a child who's 11 now, now you've come to the sort of the other side of that. Is that what would you share with all the moms out there who are currently dealing with, some less me time than maybe they feel that they need? Just intentionally taking the
Um,
time, or how do you?
how do what would be
What
my
would you
advice for
or
somebody that
message to
feels
them
like,
as they're going through it? Like, there is light on at the end of the tunnel.
yes,
I've got through it, and
yes, when you look back on life, it's so short. So just
yeah,
keep in mind that this too shall pass.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when it passes, you're going to actually wish it back because you're
Oh,
That's a.
probably going to be in a position of a different struggle. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I always have those moments where I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have been more in the moment when my
mm.
kids were really little because I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Being present is something that I like to remind myself. I like to remind my friends, and it is really valuable. So I have a quick question for you. So I think everybody's naturally a mama bear, right? So, and I don't have a child that has Tourette syndrome, but how do you handle the public when you're out, with Baylen, if someone is, you know what I mean, being not kind, inappropriate, and how do you handle that as a mom?
I think most of the time I err on the side of grace
Sure.
because we're all just so human that and you can never begrudge somebody for ignorance. But when it just turns a little bit too far and it becomes malicious, some of the
Right.
comments or a stare or a face, I tend to I'll tend to say something,
Yeah.
but I'm really kind for the most part. There's
Sure.
only been a couple situations where they were like extremely rude, and we at this one time in Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
we had all left the restaurant, and I made it a point to walk back in and educate this nice couple, and he was a doctor and she was like, I mean, they were highly educated people and
Right.
probably two of the rudest individuals I've ever
Wow.
sat next to in a restaurant. I was like, do
Right.
better.
Do
Just
better.
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
better. Like,
Okay, good for you. Good for you. I
Yeah.
just really, I'm glad that you are upfront about that, because that is something that I wondered about,
I like
because
it. Yes, and I
I
know.
would disintegrate these people with
I
my eyes into ashes.
Yes,
That
through,
would be,
through your answer, I was thinking, I know what Julie would do. And there would probably be arrests involved and a lot of
no,
she'd
maybe.
let them have it.
I have a few friends that might bail me out.
Yeah.
Jennifer Marsh.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
no, I totally, yeah. So how do your other kids feel about all the attention? I mean, are they good with it? Is anybody resentful? Because I know there's all the sibling rivalry things that happen. And, Baylen's getting a lot of attention and
Yeah.
fame. And, I mean, they're on the show, but are any of them not thrilled with that? Or they love their sister and
I
they're
would
proud of her?
say the one that it's taken the least favor with would be the 17-year-old Sven.
Mm-hmm.
Just because so much of his life is lived in a social environment with friends. And I don't think that we know everything that is being exchanged through Snapchat and things like that. So I think that he's had to have a
Manage
lot of
that.
defensive moments for his sister and things like that. He also doesn't like to hear, hey, your sister's hot.
Yeah.
Like my kids, maybe other than Beckner, which is the young one, they are the opposite of, for lack of better words, like attention whores. Like they don't,
Yeah.
they want less attention in regards to publicity, which makes it really weird. It's like, how are we on national TV? And my kids really, are not.
Well, I
digging
mean, the Kardashians
so
have a
much.
brother, and he absolutely is out of the picture when it comes to that. So I think of that. I mean, their story's nowhere different. I mean, so different, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
So they get a choice, right? I'm sure of how much
Yeah.
they want to be and how much they
Yes.
don't want to be on television.
And,
So
and how much of it, because we've interviewed other people that have done reality shows, is because sitting back as the audience, and there's an editor, and so they put this show to each episode together. It has to be some dramatic effect, because if all you all did all day was just walk around and make scrambled eggs, and people be bored.
right.
So I got really into the storyline, which is not a storyline; it's your real life, of Colin and your daughter, and I'm watching the relationship unfold, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, they're young. They're too young, So you're watching all that, and then I was his proposal is so beautiful. I mean, did he write that himself? That was beautiful, and I cried. I'm not gonna lie.
Well,
cried.
I mean, I think some people don't know your daughter is.
Oh, she's engaged.
She's engaged.
Yes, she's engaged. So, how much of that? Now you can't give too much of it away, but I mean,
Sure.
like at one point, your husband even on the show kind of seemed to have some reservations about what's going on with Colin and Baylen. It's your real life, or just some of it, like, because Colin, if he's watching that, probably thinks, well, I thought they liked me, or isn't it tricky? Or how do you manage that?
So yes, it's completely unscripted, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that, like, we're not walking around with GoPros on our head.
Sure.
So, and that would be the most boring show ever, is
Right.
just to see footage like that. So there has to be, I call it scene setting, right? Where they're putting you into scenes and they're motivating you to say, okay, let's talk about this, because the narrative of the show is trying to get to a certain place. And in order to create that arc, like, there's topics that they want you to discuss more than others, per se.
Yeah.
So there's always some, like, scene setting, and I think that there's like a ton of permits that they have to go about doing. So reality TV isn't reality TV in the moment.
Right.
I can't watch it the same now, because no show, like, I'm like, I can read through all of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know what's going on here.
Uh-huh.
I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So certain things, when you watch them back, you're like, they didn't take anything out of context. They did a great job. I mean, we put so much faith in them, and they really, really came through. They followed our wishes and desires with making sure that it's like 90% awareness and education. But we're also not stupid. We know that there's an entertainment, kind of a drama factor, and we have all of that.
Yeah, you're
So
like, I've got plenty of drama. You don't,
Yes.
we don't have to, like, But that brings me to a good question for Baylen. What do you see for her future? Obviously, I know that she's engaged, but, like, what is, tell us a little about her future and living with Tourette's and how you see that.
Julie's a nurse, and I know Baylen expressed an interest in being a nurse.
Yeah, I was listening to that. Like, she really, I love the way that, she wants to help other people based off what she's been through. And I always love when someone says they want to be a nurse.
I feel like what I could see in the future for her is doing anything that shows that she's really an ambassador for this condition.
Yes.
So whether it's just always like moving into more personal spaces, public speaking, private events, so that she's just not this figure that's on a screen, really. So that's really what I hope the most for her, because I think it's important for people to see that every day is really much more of a challenge for her than what you see on a TikTok or even what you see in one episode. It's very complex.
It's
and
24/7.
You just don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, I understand. So, well, that's great.
What I do love about this generation too is some of them are choose to be ambassadors for certain things when bad things happen to them, or they have something that they're struggling with. Like my son, when he had his brain injury, thanks to Julie, actually by accident, he started getting involved in an organization called Hope for Minds, and really talking about traumatic brain injury and really going out there and raising money for it and speaking about it and everything. So hats off to all of these kids who do that. Well, we are very excited because we have some women who would like to ask you some questions. Not just us. They are our Zoomer moms. So welcome, Zoomer moms. Welcome to the Moms Club.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to start. Rhonda Marie, can you please tell us your full name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself? And do you have a question for Julie?
Hi, excuse me. I am Rhonda Phillips. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I actually live in Shreveport, Louisiana. And believe it or not, I am in Atlanta right now being a Zoomer mom. Excuse me, really excited about what's taking place. I have a question. You know, Julie, you were sharing about family and all that has going on. If you could you tell us a little bit about family time that obviously is unscripted, something that is dear to your heart? Because as a mom, we realize that our children, our husbands, our family is very important. I am a mother of a retired vet, and she is going through some things right now. And I know that quality time with her has really been a blessing to both of us. So I'd just like to hear a little bit about your quality time with your family.
Quality time with the family, like when we're one complete unit, when all six of the kids are back under one roof, really looks like eating together and playing like wiffle ball outside. It's a lot of it is unspoken. It's through the things that we're doing together and the time spent. I feel like that's where we really become cohesive. Like you realize that even though there's one that's 24 and one that's 11, that they really are more alike than they are different because they're both planted from the same seed. And I think that we've done a decent job parenting them, that they know that, like, this is where your value comes from. It's from this household, and don't ever lose that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. Yes.
That's an amazing question. I have a question for you. Like, I know that you're a speaker as well, but like, what do you do with your family? Like, tell us, a little bit about your journey. I mean, you mentioned just slightly when you asked the question, but I'd love to hear it.
So, my daughter, she is actually 36, and she active duty retired from a medical condition that happened while in the military.
Okay.
We've been separated for just about 15 years. So I had a young adult who actually now is grown, and we are redeveloping our relationship. We do lunch, we sit down, we talk about our day. We go shopping. We have girl time. Okay. And one of the things that is very important to me, I had to realize that my daughter, I'm still mom, but I'm not the mom of that 17-year-old who left and went into the military. Mm-hmm. So I'm there to advise her, but not to dictate to her.
Okay.
And that has really helped our relationship to bloom and to continue to grow.
And I think Julie feels that deeply, right? Like, as far as to be there and to, advise, and how we all aspire to the advising role.
Yeah,
instead of
your relationship.
Yeah.
Kim, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us your full name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself. And do you have a question for Julie?
Yeah, I'm stepping outside right now because I have two kids that I'm trying to save you guys from hearing.
You're doing amazing.
I guess my biggest question, with so many kids, like, how did you manage the younger years and keep sane, I guess, and keep time for yourself?
I don't remember.
A complete blackout.
That is actually the most honest answer we've ever had here on the Moms Club.
I mean, that just done. Drop the mic. Love it. Yeah. Perfect. So,
I think
Kimberly,
you're just
it's all
trying
going to
to
go
get
away.
through
This
every
is why
day.
we all have more than one child. We forget how painful it is, and we do it again for some reason.
Yeah, so Kim, you might want to keep a journal you can refer back to right now if you have the time to jot something down so that you can remember. Because
a beautiful blur, Kimberly.
Yes. Jennifer, welcome to the Moms Club. Tell us your full name, where you're from, and do you have a question for Julie?
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. I'm Jennifer Marsh. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I have a 23 and a 19-year-old. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, being a parent for that long must be, you do probably have a lot of experience and forget the early versions of toddlerhood. But, part of this journey of being in a marriage and having 6 kids, I wonder like what it's like to also take on a reality show that comes into your family and a child who has, we all have one child that tends to take up more time than the others. And it's, and I always wonder like what's the best way to hold space for the ones who don't have the same needs for your time. And, I just have 2, so it's easy for me. I've definitely had one kid who's been a lot more, just needed a lot more attention. My first child was super independent, always took care of herself. At some point, she was just done. I launched. Mm-hmm. And, my second child was, also, he's an amazing kid, but just needed a little bit more attention. Sensory integration disorder, dyslexia, dyspraxia, all these things, which we worked through them, but, they just took time away from my daughter. And so she was sort of, I always wonder, like, is she independent because she had to be, or is she independent because she was just going to be that way? So I wonder, like, how do you hold space for your other kids?
Good question.
Mm-hmm. I
think my answer to that would be to just, I'm always meeting them where they're at. So, and I'm in making sure that I'm also in that moment with them. So if I'm spending too much time over here one day, then maybe the emotional attention this one needed was just for me to lay down and watch, a 30-minute episode of a show with them, because everyone's needs are different. So his 30 minutes we might think wasn't enough, but really 30 minutes to him is more like Baylen's 6 hours. Right. So it's always kind of keeping that in perspective, but I just love being a mom, so it comes easy for me. Like, I like to set myself on the back burner. I like to be with them and make sure that that I'm doing what they love. I'm sitting in the cold watching your baseball games. I'm going shopping at the stores that you want to go shopping to. We'll go through the coffee shop that you want to go to. It's kind of like really sacrificial in a lot of ways, and you can lose yourself. But I just stay grounded in my faith, and that it less of me and more of him, that makes me whole.
Beautiful answer. Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Love that.
That's so great to hear. Yeah, I mean, because you said at the beginning that you've tried really hard to be in the back seat, so it sounds like that's generally a philosophy of yours.
Well, and you do give a lot of credit too to Alan, your husband. So he's works full time, and you're staying at home. Do you feel like he's equally dedicates time to each of the other kids, and he's, in addition to working and doing everything else, do you feel like it's an equal partnership?
Nothing's equal.
I don't think it's equal. And I do feel that over the years he feels like he's missed out, because he has been such a workforce that has given me the opportunity to make sure that I'm at everything and I can do everything, and all the doctor's appointments and all of the things that we're dividing and conquering, but he still has to hold down a job. Mm-hmm. He still has to make sure we have medical insurance and all of those things. So I think men carry burdens differently than we do. I think they definitely do. And I acknowledge that for him. And I do have moments where I feel really sad for him, because I know that I've really been able to embrace a lot more of the kids than maybe he has. But
I really like and appreciate your answer, because I think a lot of women seem to come down on the dads and say, oh, he didn't, wasn't taking time. Mm-hmm. And that's really the most honest I love your answer because I know my husband now, as the kids are older, I think he looks back, he missed a lot.
Yeah.
I was the team mom of the baseball team, and I got to spend a lot of time with him, and he didn't. So because he was working so hard. So yeah,
exactly. But I do want to say something to this subject. I am not a married person, but I will tell you this. I think it's an amazing relationship that you guys have stuck together, because this could have broken your relationship and your family life wide open. That's the truth. So I love that part. But I will say that if I had to guess and get into like a man's head who's always working, not always around, that he appreciates what you are able to bring, even though he can't be there all the time and he may have missed out on some stuff, he loves how this is set up. And I think that I think men, I could be wrong, really, really value what is being built and what is created in your home. So I had to say that. Because
when you're watching the show like I do, you appreciate your relationship. You're working together. It feels like with the entire situation.
Right.
So, Lisa, welcome to the Moms Club. What's your full name? Where are you from? She's my sister, by the way.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, which I told a lot right there. And do you have a question for Julie?
My name is Lisa Morris. I am from Horseshoe Bay, Texas, which is outside of Austin. My husband and I watch your show together, so we just love it. One of the things I was curious about is because I have two daughters that are close in age, and I wonder how that sister relationship is. They'll go shopping and things like that. But I also know that my daughters one will ask, something will get on their nerves about one. They're kind of a little bit, as much as they get along. Are they close, or do they have their moments, or what's that relationship like?
They have an interesting relationship because Sammy truly is Baylen's biggest advocate in the world. And she's feisty, though. She's got like this Italian side to her where there's no gray. It's black and it's white, and this is what we're doing. So the things that they don't see eye to eye with are the gray areas, because Baylen's so passive, like, oh, that's fine. Like he overcharged me $50. It's okay. And Sammy's like, that's hard-earned money. You need to Samuel is very firm. So some of their personality traits and their temperament come across as different, and it is a little bit inflated, I would say. In some of the episodes, I think it's going to be balanced out where you can really see Sammy's love and commitment to Baylen, because they grew up together. They're a year and 4 months apart or something.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're really close. They grew up. They were best friends. That's all they knew was each other.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody needs a scrapper in a relationship. So I love that. Somebody, you know what I mean, to help the other person.
Yeah. Step in there.
Yeah.
Well,
there's been a lot of times where Sammy is willing to beat people up over.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you need someone to like stand in front. So
fight your battles.
What do you want people to know about Tourette syndrome?
That it looks different on everybody, but that mostly it's such a socially disabling condition that just needs so much grace, yet so much more research, because these people are living in dark places. They don't feel like they fit in anywhere. And it's not like other conditions, genetic disorders, where maybe somebody doesn't have all their faculties. Like these kids have all their faculties. They are cognizant of when people are staring. They know what's going on. You can't pull a fast one by them because maybe they're not fully equipped mentally or intellectually. So
be kind. Be kind is what you're saying.
Be kind and don't say stupid things.
I love it.
Right. Do
Did you
unto
get that,
others
Monica?
as you would have them do unto you. Yes.
I
don't
like
say
it.
things to you.
I'm just
say it to you. No, I'm kidding. We get along great. So that's what the beauty of the Moms Club.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you, Zoomer, so much for joining us. As always, you were amazing. We appreciate it. And Julie, aside from the show, which is on every Monday night, is that on TLC? It's also on HBO Max, I believe. Where else can they find your family on social media? Or Baylen, where do they find her? Because I know you want them to all watch your social media too. Where can they find you?
Well, Baylen's TikTok handle, I think, is just Baylen Dupree.
Yeah.
Same for her Instagram, but I don't know where you're going to find the rest of us.
Well, I'm going to tell you where you're going to find the rest of us. Yeah, it's Jules, Juls, Dupree, number 8, which I am assuming is the number of people in your family. Oh. So that is your handle. And we are so happy that you were able to join us today.
Check it out and definitely watch Baylen Out Loud and do what you can to support people who have Tourette's for sure, and other.
Be educated, be kind.
Educate yourself and be a good person. That's what we espouse here on the Moms Club.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. You can find us on social media at Inside the Moms Club. On TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We're all over the place. We also have a website, InsideTheMomsClub.com. You want to check there if you want to be a Zoomer mom like these lovely ladies that were on today. And we'd also like to thank today our sponsor.
Yes.
We credit our sponsor for the existence of this show, or at least the existence of Julie on this show. Because we share a room, as I mentioned.
Because it keeps you from killing Monica.
New Calm is an app that you want to get. It helps you sleep better, focus. It gives you energy. But yes, I turn this on, and Julie goes. We sleep.
It works better when you don't have Seinfeld and you Calm going at the same time.
Otherwise, there's a lot of snoring.
Oh,
and other things that disturb. No, I'm
it's
kidding.
Kitten purring.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Lionish. Anyway, no, it's all great. No, it's very lovely. Anyway,
I own it.
We love New
I own
Calm.
it.
We also love Beverly Hills Lingerie because they're a great example of someone who's been helping us with our chapters across the country, which I mentioned earlier. So there are events all over. Huh?
Two sisters?
Two sisters who started a lingerie store together, and they have an online shop. They contributed to events that we have across the country. So we are going to have events all over the country, meet other moms, and the great thing is you'll have local companies like Beverly Hills Lingerie that contribute. You can come home with prizes and new friends. I actually made a lot of new friends at the event in Dallas. I tried to win the prizes, but I got smoked out that I wasn't allowed to put my name in the bowl, so I didn't get to do it. Yeah, I was cheating. But anyway, but there's great prizes, so you definitely want to do that. And we definitely will be in Shreveport when that event happens. We're very excited. So it's all good. So Julie, I cannot believe this time goes by so fast.
It does, because we get to meet such cool people.
We get to meet cool, and we learn a lot.
We learn a lot, and that feels good.
We do. So, but time has passed again, but we'll be back next time with celebrities and extraordinary moms like you. We know all your me time is precious and valuable. Don't forget our motto, though. We do have a motto, ladies. Don't forget it. If you don't laugh, sometimes you're going to cry. So always remember that. Keep laughing, and we'll see you next time inside the Moms Club.